Welcome back. Today I'm excited to listen to some more Band-Maid, and I'm going to try to get 3 songs in here. Because I just finished the album Just Bring It, and working through Band-Maid's catalog in chronological order, Just Bring It was, in my opinion, the best album yet. By a long shot. All the development and practice and experience that they gained in the previous albums was evident on this album Just Bring It. And then about 6 months later, halfway through 2017, they released the single Daydreaming/Choose Me, which of course includes the song Daydreaming, the song Choose Me, but it also includes the song Play. Now, I don't have a physical copy of this single, so I'm just going to use the audio and/or videos from YouTube, but I do have physical copies of these songs, because just a couple of days ago, look what arrived in the mail. I got Band-Maid's Greatest Hits collection here, which includes all 3 of these songs, because I'm pretty sure they're all 3 great. I'm not pretending that any of these 3 songs are new to me. I've heard them before. I think I have every Band-Maid song that's on Spotify in my Band-Maid playlist, so it rotates through occasionally when I'm listening. But I rarely get to sit down and actually pay attention to the songs, and I almost never get to sit here at this desk and listen to them with the best headphones that I have, which are not ridiculously expensive headphones. They're not top of the line, but they're better than what I'm listening to when I'm mowing the yard. Anyway, that's a long enough intro. Let's switch over to the video screen, where I have pulled up the official music video for Daydreaming. In the past, I always tried to listen to just the audio first because that's how I normally listen to music, and then if I had time to add the video in, but I've decided to skip the audio-only portion here because, well, for one thing, it's not that enjoyable for the viewers to just watch me listen to audio that you can't see, and for another thing, it saves a lot of time. I did remember to put my headphones on this time, and real quick before we start, I just want to say that I remember hearing this song when I heard it for the first time and not liking it that much, and then I didn't listen to it again for a little while. Until my wife met someone at work, and I don't know how the topic came up that I had found a new rock band, and the person she was talking to said, "Oh my goodness, I found a new rock band too. It's Band-Maid." She said, "That's the same one that my husband just found." And he said, "Yeah, my favorite song is Daydreaming." And he was really excited about it. And I don't remember what she said, how the rest of the conversation went, but when she came and told me, I was like, "Really? Daydreaming? Isn't that the one that I wasn't that fond of?" And I listened to it again, and I was like, "Hey, that's not that bad." And then I think it was about the 3rd time that I heard it, that it finally sank in how good the song really was. And at least one of those times was watching the video, because I have a thumbs up down here on the screen, so I know I've seen it before. So it might have been the video that tipped the scales for me, but anyway, let's just go and see what we think now, because it's been at least a year since that happened. If I didn't warn you at the beginning, I am going to pause and talk about what I saw and or heard. Hope that doesn't bother you. If you want to hear the songs straight through, they're here on YouTube, they're on Spotify, they're on Apple Music, or as I did, you can buy CDs and listen to them. But anyway, a couple of things that I noticed right off the bat. There's really lovely, gorgeous scenery in this video so far. Number 2, I think it might be the first one from Band-Maid that started with the chorus, or at least part of the chorus. It just kind of went straight into the vocals there, and then there was the chorus, and then the musical intro came in, the instrumentation intro. And the way that the music kicked in there, when the guitars and the bass and the drums finally hit, makes me wonder why I wasn't really fond of this song the first time I heard it. I'm just going to click back there and catch that part again, because that part really felt nice.
More
I really love the location that they found here, although growing up where I grew up, all I can think about seeing those tall weeds is mosquitoes, rats, and snakes. But maybe they filmed this at a time of year where that wasn't quite so prevalent, or maybe they were somehow well protected otherwise against those pests. Although I guess if there were snakes, then there would be fewer rats, maybe. But yeah, here in Texas, it's warm the majority of the year, and mosquitoes, pretty much all the time, especially if you've got a neighbor that's got a yard that looks like this, which we have a few. I won't name any names. They know who they are. I do also like in the places between the vocals where the music feels like it's almost in a waiting mode, just kind of chugging along softly, waiting for something bigger to happen. The whole song kind of feels like that in a way, which I guess fits the message of Daydreaming. I also like that we got a shot of the whole band there where, a camera quite a bit further away, showing all 5 of them set up, but then we get individual shots here. Konami's almost lost in these weeds. And we had, individual shots of the other 4 members as well. Let's keep going. I'm going to back up and catch the opening of that again. I just wanted to say that through that, I guess that was the second verse. It seems like the verses and choruses are out of order here, so my brain's a little confused, but the drum work that Akane was doing felt superb to me. Again, I'm not a musician, so I don't know how difficult that actually was to either compose and or play, but it felt really unique. It felt like she was doing whatever she wanted to, but it fit, of course, perfectly with the vocals. And then Misa was working with her, and it just felt almost like riding a river underneath the vocals there. Definitely was different than the previous verse, and it was just amazing. Backing up a few seconds here. One really cool thing about that guitar solo and about the cinematography around it is that everybody was in on it except the vocals. And that's why every time I say guitar solo in these songs, it feels a little weird because the director of photography or cinematographer, whatever you call it on a music video, was clearly showing that Misa's doing her part in this as well. And Akane clearly has a part in this as well. And even Miku got a couple of clips there in the middle of that solo because it didn't work if they're not doing what they were doing. It was a team effort, and it sounded really cool. And I love the way that it ended softly blending back into the vocals here. And again, the scenery is just really stunning here, and it's kind of switching between this abandoned, it looks like an abandoned, broken down building, and then I guess city streets, because there looks like, currently being used buildings, in the background of some of those shots. So kind of switching back and forth between those ideas. The empty shell versus the buildings that are still full of life. And that was just a really nice ending as well. Throughout that whole last section, I just kept hearing, bits of Misa's bass work in the background. I don't know if my mix or, my graphic equalizer or whatever is messed up today, but I felt like the bass wasn't as prominent as it normally is, but I was still catching bits of it. And certainly the balance of the rest of the instruments would have felt off without her. And for the life of me, after listening to that and watching this video, I have no recollection of why I didn't initially really like the song. The only thing I can think of is that at the time that I found Band-Maid, I was looking for a replacement for some of the old and tired hard rock songs that I had been listening to. Maybe the softness, the somewhat more delicate nature of most of this song, didn't quite hit the spot for me at that time. But as I became a, bigger and bigger fan of the band itself rather than just the music, then the song started to fit in a little bit better. And like I said, now I listening to this song, watching this video, I can't think of anything wrong with it. It's a beautiful song, just probably a little bit slower pace than I normally mostly enjoy. I did find a live version of Daydreaming, and I watched just a few seconds. It looks like the video and audio is a pretty decent quality, so I'm going to watch this one too. And from the date in the title, looks like this was later in the year after the song came out, and probably at one of the same shows that we've seen some other videos for. I don't think I've seen this one before, so hopefully it's okay. If not, I'll cut it out entirely. I can't tell if she's playing that on stage or if that's a track. I'm gonna assume it's a track. Certainly the strings in the intro were a track, and the reason that I say I assumed the piano part was a track is because if she was actually playing that at a piano or keyboard on stage, I'm certain that they would have showed that in the video. Plus, at some point here, she would then have to switch from that to her guitar really quickly, because if it was that, I assumed it would have been Konami. It might just be my ears, and I'm not a musician, but it sounded like when Psyche came in that the pitch of that intro didn't quite match the pitch that she came in on. And that's not being critical, it's just something that I happened to notice, that the feeling that it gave me, it felt like it was off just a little bit, which I know is really easy to do in a live situation. Oh, that came in nice. Yeah, it must have just been me. Several things to say there. One, I think it was just me that her voice was off, because once all the music came in, it sounded like it was right on. So I apologize for, interrupting about that earlier. Number two, the bass is higher in the mix in this track than it was in the studio track. It's definitely thumping and driving there in the background. Also, the drums sound more separated here than they did in the other mix, which is really unusual for live recordings, at least the hundreds of live recordings that I've heard. Very often the drums, you hear parts of the drums, but a lot of it gets mixed in with each other or buried, but here they sound very separated. Also, Konami's guitar, that ringing out of those notes that she's playing behind the vocals, sounds really separated. So, congratulations to whoever put the sound together for this live show here, this live video. They were on top of their game. I'm really impressed with how well that sounds. In addition, we've mentioned multiple times that Psyche had vocal surgery at some point in 2017 before this date here that's listed as the title of this video. Her voice sounds really good in this. I know her voice always sounds good, and some people think she can do no wrong, but this part specifically is what I meant. The opening, it sounded like Psyche to me. There's, nothing off about that, but here, when she brought her voice down, the velvety, very smooth texture of her lower register here it's mind-blowing. It sounds amazing. Okay, she's lower in the mix. Oh my. Oh, wow. I think that sounded better than the studio version, except for one thing. After Early saying that everything seemed more separated and higher in the mix, it was clear at several points in the song that Miku, both her voice and her guitar, were lower in the mix than they normally are. And I think Konami's guitar was a little bit louder than it is in some of these live recordings. I know people have complained, including me, that in some of the live recordings you can barely hear the lead guitar. But here it was really clear to me, whereas Miku's was more subdued. Even the part where she sang by herself, I felt like at the last second they just adjusted her mic up just a little bit once they realized it was her singing. But everything else about this recording was just really good. And considering that it's live, which is... I can't imagine how much different it is than recording a song in a studio where every time you sing any note or play any note or hit any drum, you can do it again if you mess up. And that has to take out so much stress. Like even here, when I'm recording these videos, if I say blah, blah, blah for a second and I meant to say Konami, it's okay. And I don't have to worry about it because I can always just stop and say Konami. And then I can edit that part out where I didn't say it right. So you have to imagine that even with the stresses that come from laying down tracks in a studio, that there's the lack of that stress, that you have to get it right every time, the first time. And considering that this was live where you don't have that opportunity, that was just an amazing performance. Oh my goodness. And a few times the bass work just was working up and down, like somewhere behind this part, but in front of my spine, just right up through the center of me, and maybe adjusted my heartbeat several times. Good job to whoever adjusted the volumes there. That bass guitar work was amazing. And I'm glad that Akane got an extended shot there where she was doing her magic. It's amazing. The next song on this single is Choose Me. And even though I don't think of it this way, I think Choose Me is the first Band-Maid song that I heard. because before I ever heard of Band-Maid, I watched the Netflix movie. You know the one that I'm talking about. So I'm just watching this assassin or hitman, I guess hitwoman, go into this club looking for this girl, and there's a poster that says Band-Maid. I didn't see that the first time I saw the movie. I only saw that when I went back and watched it again. And then they go in, and then there's this music playing, which just sounds like rock music. But, it's clearly a female vocalist, and it's clearly in Japanese, at least the part that I heard. But, I'm watching for the story. I've never heard of Band-Maid, so I'm not looking for them. And then it shows the band on stage, and I'm like, wait, they're wearing like some sort of cosplay outfits. And then the story went on, and I didn't think about that anymore. There's also a little bit of a car chase scene. I don't remember if it was before the club scene or after, where there was a nice rock and roll song. And I found out later that was also a snippet of a Band-Maid song. But I didn't appreciate them for what they were because, again, I was just watching the movie, and those were just parts of the soundtrack in the background that I thought sounded interesting, but not enough to pause the movie and look up to see who contributed the songs, or to look up and see if the people playing instruments on stage were actually a real band. I just, assumed it was actors, extras or whatever called in for that scene. Now, the first time that I heard a Band-Maid song that I knew it was Band-Maid was Dice. But Choose Me holds that, special place that because I saw that song in that movie and then later realized, wait, that was them. I have pulled up the official music video here, and let's just watch it. I don't think I've heard this one in a while.
愛こそはね目に見えない幻想愛あるなら全てさらけ出して愛してると胸に刻み込んで捧げればあれもこれもそれもどれもできない足りないでも全部欲しいってわがままも聞いてひざまずいて Listen to me, hey my boy Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on 抱きしめるだけじゃ満たされない Excuse 愛してほしいなら You make me crazy、唇見つめた見せたい鏡に映る私に微笑む悪魔が Let's go say 愛こそはね目に見えない幻想愛あるなら全てさらけ出して愛してると胸に刻み込んで捧げれば Just今すぐ見つけ出して This will be the last one Let's carry on, let's carry on もっと強く甘いだけじゃ物足りないの刺激をもっと遊んでたい君まだ眠るまで I want your attention 気づくのがいつも遅すぎる Oh I 許してほしいなら
Sorry, I was halfway through the song before I remembered I'm supposed to pause at some point. It's a really good rock song. Also, I kept noticing different things with the lead guitar that I've never heard before, and that's possible that because of the way less expensive headsets or speakers compress the sounds together, that it's not, as separated, whereas these headphones separate the things a little bit more. I was definitely hearing some lead guitar work and some rhythm guitar work that I've never heard before, even though I have heard this song. I just realized that that's a pretty awesome pause there. I don't think I've ever quite seen Seiki look just like that before. The sound quality here is definitely different, and whoever mixed this, at least on my end, I don't know what it sounds like for you. It might sound exactly the same as the last one, but I don't hear the bass hardly at all in this mix. I'm seeing her, play the bass, and I can tell that it's there at a few moments, but I'm definitely hearing a lot of lead guitar and rhythm guitar stuff that I hadn't heard before in this song. It's catchy and it keeps moving. That's, I think, one reason that I forgot to pause is because she just keeps putting more lyrics out there, and I don't think I was even reading most of them. I've probably read these subtitles before. And one thing that I'm learning, and I learn things slowly sometimes. Most of you probably already know this, but every time I hear a Band-Maid song even the ones that I've heard before, I think that this is better than it was when I heard it last time. This one is a marked example of that. I feel like it's twice as good as it was the last time that I heard it. I just wish that the bass was a little higher in the mix. That's the only fault that I have found so far. Let's keep going.
Let's get ない強がりだって Do you know no 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 I did me anything is okay I choose you 愛こそはね目に見えない幻想愛あるなら全てさらけ出して愛してると胸に刻み込んで捧げ Never ever Just time 今すぐ見つけ出して This will be the last one Let's carry on Let's carry on もっと深く溺れて to me 溺れてねI cannot wait forever 危険に揺られて Round and round 戸惑うならもう disappear Marijuana choose me
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that was better than I remember it being. Really well done, ladies. Already, I feel like maybe at this point that they knew that their fans had already thought of Just Bring It as their seminal album. This is the Band-Maid album. It's so much better than everything that came before. And, you know, hopefully everything that comes after this will be just as good. And they, when they made this single, they said, wait, we can do better than that. That's what it feels like to me. And they went in a couple of different directions with obviously Daydreaming being unlike anything that they had done before. Kind of a metal ballad, I guess you could call it. And then this song, in the breakdown section, instead of dropping out the instruments and having kind of a slow, peaceful place, they just kept going. And the bass guitar stood out a lot more in that section than in the rest of the song. And I think there were 2 guitar solos. It was a really good song. And I know that there is an official live video of Choose Me, but I'm just so impressed with that official music video right now and also I only have so much time. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the 3rd song on the single, the last song, which is Play. I am familiar with Play. It is, I'm pretty sure, the second Band-Maid song that I heard after I became aware of them. I already said earlier that Dice was the first one that I heard, and that was in a reaction video. And then I went and watched the music video for myself. Haven't gotten to that one yet in this chronological journey. But then the next one that I saw was either Play or Freedom. I don't remember which one of those 2 came first for me. Now, in this chronological journey, we have already done Freedom on the previous album, and we watched the live video. I think I mentioned then that it was that video that, you know, kind of drew my attention to Akane, and she became my first favorite maid. And then eventually, you know, my attention shifted to where I now kind of see all 5 of them. But Play was one of those very first few that I heard, and Dice, as I said, was my introduction to Band-Maid, but then Freedom and Play were the 2 songs that hooked me. And it told me this is a band that you want to keep learning more about. This is a band you want to keep listening to. I remember this song doing that for me. I remember some of the visuals from this music video and just being terribly impressed with him. So hopefully this, watching it now, will live up to that memory of seeing it for the first time. Let's just go. This is Play official live video by Band-Maid. This is one of those visuals that I remember from the first time seeing this video and thinking to myself, what's more rock and roll than that? What's more metal than that? Because at least for me, growing up, rock and roll, and especially hard and heavy rock bordering on metal, some of it was called metal at the time, and we don't call it metal anymore, but it was about rebellion. It was about sticking it to the man. It was about expressing yourself, whether or not that was acceptable to society. And some of our male rock stars were wearing dresses and long hair, and you know, the older people in the society would be like, oh no, that's so... For some reason, they thought it was wrong. But putting on a maid outfit with this beautiful electric guitar and playing in this hard rock song. And I don't know, the guitarist pose that she has put on here and probably practiced. And of course, when I saw it, the camera's moving, right? The camera's moving around her, I think, panning. The camera's going to the right, so we're kind of going around her. But that image has stuck with me since the very first time that I saw this video, and it caught my attention so much that I had to come back. I had to keep listening. There's more to it than just a gimmick. There's clearly, a little bit of what we would call a gimmick here. And that's one of the reasons, to be honest, that I didn't immediately listen to them when I first heard about them and saw the thumbnails. I thought, that's a little weird to me, these outfits. But when I actually saw it and heard it, this is the real deal. This is rock and roll. I will say that this mix isn't impressing me as much as the last live that we listened to. I can hear the bass better than in studio tracks, and the drums sound okay, but both guitars sound reduced to me, and definitely not separated as clearly as they were in the other live track. This is, in my opinion, not the same audio engineer that recorded that previous live. That's another moment that I remember from the very first time that I watched this video. Miku's little whispers above everything else. There is no way out. It's going to be all right. Let go. Open your mind. I think that's what she said. And the disconnect between those first two phrases was so stark that there is no way out, but it's going to be okay. I love that. And I love the courage that she has to do something which might seem a little silly in the context of hard rock, to do, the little girly whisper above this hard driving music, but it works. And it brings a smile to my face every single time. Also, this is just a really hard song and I love it. There's no question that this mix isn't my favorite for this song, but this song is my favorite off this single. No question about that. Let's go.
Oh,
think based on the sound and the positioning of the camera, I think I know what song's coming next because I've seen that video too. What a song. But yeah, no, I stand by what I said earlier that they must have been aware of what people thought about the Just Bring It album and decided to take it up a notch. Even though at that point, the fans must not have believed that was possible. Had I listened to that album when it came out, I think I would have thought they couldn't top it. Moratorium, Puzzle, so many others. And then they released this single, which feels like that's what they were trying to do, but especially ending it with this, for me, this takes the cake. And it ends with that almost plaintive cry of the guitar just hitting the high note and then fading and, cutting off there as if to say, it's not finished yet. Because I didn't feel like the chord resolved there at the end. I felt like it just kind of, I don't know, that whole string of notes by the guitar at the very end just felt like it was laying down the gauntlet and promising more and better to come. And according to this list of songs that I'm keeping here, the next song that came out by Band-Maid was a cover called Honey. And then after that, about 6 or 7 months after this single was released, came the album World Domination, which included 2 of the songs from this single, but a bunch of other just really good songs, most of which I haven't heard in a while, but I'm looking forward to doing it. As you can see, I already do have the album here, and I'm ready to go with that one. I will try to find a copy of Honey to listen to in my next video, because chronological. Thank you for spending your time here. Let me know what you think in the comments, which ones of these songs are your favorites, or whether they were among the first you heard, how you think they compare to Just Bring It or what came after. I'll see you next time.